Hello and welcome, friends, to Disoriented Doodles. My name is Rochelle and I am excited to be drawing with you. Today we are doing a basic drawing of a person in profile shot. I will be loading this individual, which came from my imagination, with a lot of colors, and I'm just going to be focusing on the playful nature of creating art. How I would describe my art style is very expressive, illustrative, and often carrying a narrative. Lately, I've been challenging myself to this style that I lovingly call poopy mixed stoopy. And yes, it is a very silly and kind of stupid style, but essentially what I do is that I take general shapes and I mash them together to make a creature or a monster, and I keep going until it's no longer amusing to me. You'll see it in future videos, but I have been really loving this style and I can't wait to play with it and show everybody. Along with showing off older art, either from when I was in college to the stuff that I've been working on currently in my sketchbook. Alright, we're finally adding some colors. Normally I don't work so dark in the beginning and just kind of do light and then work my way towards dark, but I was just in a very funny kind of mood and I'm just like, you know what, let's see where this goes. Let's just throw as much color as we can to this poor person's face and see what we can come up with. Make as much mistakes as we can, just go for it. My personal philosophy when it comes to art is that art is such a human experience, and I love how people can tell their own stories and they could be so expressive with the mediums that they work with. When it comes to art, I personally feel that there is no such thing as good or bad art. It's just art, and it's an expression of people and their experiences, which gives a lot of playfulness to it. One of my earliest memories of drawing was actually it was when I was in elementary school and I was fascinated with The Little Mermaid, borderline obsessed. And I would try to draw her in her like wavy hair that's flowing in the water, and I'm not gonna lie, she looks like she's been squished by a boulder with malicious intent. One of these days, I'll probably do a before and after, but man, I did her a disservice. As I continued to practice making art when I was a kid, I had so many phases. I had the horse phase, and then I had the dragon phase, which surprisingly had horse heads, but with a million scales and hyper detail, and for some reason gothic eyes that looked like they came from the Kiss rock stars. Oh man. And then when I was in middle school, I discovered anime with a group of friends, and that's what really got me started into drawing people. I practiced a lot on drawing proportions and small details, and man, it was so intimidating. But I'm glad I stuck with it because it just kept driving my love for art and especially drawing people, and I practiced a lot when I went through college. Although I must say, when I first started, hands and feet and noses and lips were my enemy. Oh man, I hated drawing those in the beginning, and I would just spend an absurd amount of time, mostly when I'm supposed to take notes in class, just practicing and practicing and practicing, trying to get those nubbins correct or those nostrils in check without looking like a pig. It took some time and a lot of visual practice, but dang, it pays off to practice. But my favorite part of drawing is definitely the eyes. I love drawing those eyeballs. what I'm doing right now is taking opposite colors and meshing them together to get those nice tones and browns, and then adding some darks by using grays so that it won't be too harsh in the contrast. But unfortunately, I don't think that was very successful. I fell into my same habits of just adding way too much color, as we'll soon find out. One of the things that I have been doing, especially recently, is saving the hair for last. I feel like the face is more important because it has a lot of details and you have to get certain proportions right. Whereas hair, you know what? You can do whatever you want, and the way how it falls naturally, it's the last part of the body that you can be working on, and I think it really translates well here with me just splashing whatever color in the background. Right now I'm just trying to combat those reds with some greens to give it more of a luminescent kind of look. I feel like I kind of gave her a little bit of an alienish look, but I added some pinks later and it kind of worked out. After getting my bachelor's in fine art, I took a huge break from making fine art. I dabbled here and there with some paintings, but it was kind of hard getting back into it. Unfortunately, a lot of personal things have happened during that time, and there was a moment where, honestly, I fell out of love, which it was a dark moment of my life. I lost interest, I didn't see the point, and it took a while to realize that I loved it. I love drawing, I love making and creating and expressing, and it took a while to just come back to it, but I'm really glad I did. It was around the time when I've met my husband when I started drawing again. My husband was the DM for Dungeons and Dragons, and I had no idea on what this game was. And I just made a character how I felt at the time, which was confused. So I've made the human confused from spontaneous, and that's what got my husband's attention at the time. He loved my creativity, he loved my little doodles, and encouraged me, and honestly throughout the years and with his encouragement has made me re-fall in love parts of my art and gave me a lot of confidence when at the time I had none. Nowadays, I help support people with mental and physical disabilities by teaching them the fundamentals of art and teaching them my philosophies of what I think is good art and help them express their stories. I feel like I mostly draw with them in my sketchbook, and we just kind of talk about, color theory and this and that, but honestly, it's a wonderful chapter in my life, and I'm very grateful for how things turned out. All right, we are finally towards the end. I'm just touching up the person with some little baby hairs with some paint marker, a little sparkle on those luscious lips, and the sparkle in the eyes. Of course, gotta sign my name. And what you guys think? I look forward to making art in the future and can't wait to see you then. Bye!